Either they're going to do it, you're going to do it, or you're not going to do it.
We say we want it, but we really are afraid to grow and our life to be different.
You have to continue to grow, continue to invest, continue to learn, continue to put yourself in a room where growth takes place.
Hey, welcome you guys to the Nurse Boss Shift. It's your girl, Dr. Kiana Jones.
Crystal P, the beauty NP.
Today we have Miss Elise Haskins, who actually I've been knowing for a while, and we got to get her on here and be able to share her journey. Elise, I will have you go ahead and introduce yourself, and you can start with the name that everybody knows you as also.
Gosh, well, everyone knows me as Nurse Haskins, but my name is Elise. So I'm Nurse Haskins. I'm a board-certified family nurse practitioner. I am in the metro Atlanta area. I have been in nursing a little over 23 years. Got into entrepreneurship in 2021. Became a full-time entrepreneur. I am the owner of Brighter Health and Primary Care, which is in the Alpharetta, Georgia area, which will be shifting or transitioning over to, what is it going to be? Oh, Brighter Health and Wellness. Just strictly wellness. So I just remember, like, what am I shifting my name to? So Brighter Health and Wellness. But
work.
Listen, right. Like, who am I going to be? It's a new year. You know, everything, right? Oh, right. Be her. But yeah, so I'm a health and wellness provider. I am so big on preventative care. So I always say health promotion and disease prevention is my niche. That's what I love. That's what I do. Excuse me while I unzip a little bit. But yeah, so that's who I am, and that's what I do.
Yeah, and so wait a minute. I just have to highlight that you said, "What am I doing now?" Because I think people who are considering entrepreneurship think you have to have it all figured out, all your ducks in a row, everything laid out, and they don't give themselves room to change, to learn, to grow, because that's what we have to be as entrepreneurs. Like, we're chameleons, and it's okay. So let's talk about that. I would love to start with that. Like, your journey, and even some of the challenges that I know. By the way, let me just be fully tell a little bit about our relationship. Elise, Nurse Haskins, and I met on social media. You guys in the DMs. I don't remember who DM'd who. Maybe it was me or maybe it's her. But we met in the DMs. I asked her to come on, and this is crazy. June Bloom, which was my first little virtual event. And let me tell you guys how crazy, we always talk about the power of networking on this show. And like, she came on the June Bloom. We had such a vibe, and she was about to do something in Texas. And I was like, I had already said that I need to start getting out and just connect more. And I said, well, maybe I'll come to your event. She was like, you gonna come? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come. And I showed up, and we stayed at the Airbnb together, and the rest was history. And so I love that story, but I think it's really true to the mentality, the mindset you have to have when it comes to being an entrepreneur, especially as nurses, because we're kind of cliquish, and being able to spread out. So I would love for you to speak to that, Nurse Haskins.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm one of those people who I always just go beyond, right? As far as my stethoscope, I don't see boundaries when it comes to limits on entrepreneurship or who I am as a person. I started hosting events in North Carolina back in 2019, right? And I started hosting these events because I got tired of what we call break room talks. We always talk about the things that we don't like in nursing, the things that need to change in nursing. So I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do beyond this break room, right? So just going back to the event space of how we met was that I started hosting events, and my first event was in 2019, and it was breaking the code in nursing, going beyond your stethoscope and talking about those painful areas of nursing that we don't see up front. So when I met you on social media, and at that time I just went on tour, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go on tour. I always come up with these grandiose ideas, right? Who gets them? I don't know, but I always feel like I can do them. I started to say, okay, stepping into entrepreneurship, I need to step outside of social media. So at that time, you and I met in the DMs. You was like, oh, I'm doing my June Bloom series. And I was like, well, okay, well, what are my stops in Texas? So when you said you were coming, I'm like, okay, well, how about this week? And you were like, what? I'm like, yeah. So I just said again, like, whenever you see someone and we all have the potential of just taking the bull by horns and doing what we do. Like you said, the power of intentional connections, right? That's just something I've always believed in, intentionally connecting with people to seriously just like enhance who we are beyond the bedside. It's a real thing, it's a real thing. And then me stepping into entrepreneurship, it was one of those things I was just like, you know what, I have this media, and stepping into entrepreneurship was not easy. It's still not easy. And I'm still transitioning and growing every day. So that's the side of entrepreneurship we don't talk about, but I'm ready to talk about it. Because I think like you see things, right? It's all glitz and glam, but it's truly not. So when you step into the space of true meets transition, then you're talking about a true entrepreneur.
I love that. Yeah.
I was really highlighting just that easy going, like we make the necessary changes and we go with it. But can you talk about how were you ever like that? Like how you got to that point where it was just like, oh, I'm changing from Brighter Health primary care to Brighter Health, wellness. And what did you say? Beauty and wellness?
Brighter Health and Wellness. Brighter Health and Wellness. And
Brighter Health and Wellness, like that change. Yeah. Talk about that process.
So that changed because, of course, I am by trade an acute care nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner, come from a hospital setting, right? 12 years of just hospital medicine. So in my mind, me opening up my primary care practice was like, oh, I'm going to provide primary care because when patients get out of the hospital, they don't receive adequate care. They don't receive quality care. So once I launched my practice, I started to see a shift in the atmosphere, a shift of what the needs were. So I think I have to be okay with what the needs are. The same thing, like if you come out, and I'll give a prime example, and hopefully it's relatable. If you come out with a t-shirt that says women are beautiful, and nobody that you served asked you for that t-shirt, it would probably sit on your shelf for 6 months, right? So I began to just kind of see what the needs were around me. And in Atlanta, where I reside at, I'm like, a lot of people really don't tap into primary care unless they think they're dying. They're usually in urgent care, or they're usually in hospital settings. So the wellness side of it, let me do a different approach where I can still provide the same services from what people are looking for. People are looking to be well. People want to look good and feel good from the inside out. It should be outside in, but from the inside out, because you don't feel good, you won't look good. So I said, okay, I can still provide the same services, but I'm going to transition my name to make it more appealing to my average client. So I had to go back, research, and see who my avatar was for the area that I serve. I'm in Atlanta, right? I'm in Atlanta. So people want to look good and feel good in Atlanta. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I was in a little smaller town in North Carolina, primary care would probably jump off a little better, right? So I had to transition, and I'm just transitioning my name, but still adding on services. So I decided to add on a few services, moving things around. And again, being an entrepreneur and being someone who basically is the CEO of the services I offer.
And do you find your clients are responding better to that? Or is it just the same that you've already been seeing for months and now the name just reflects the clientele?
They have no idea. They have no idea because I'll just be honest, like they have no idea. Like my name is like, it's like a transition, right? So you can't just throw it out there. Like, they're like, wait, are you the same business I called last week? Are you the same person that took care of me 2 weeks ago? So my name change and me transitioning is me adding on services more toward the wellness space opposed to the primary care. So I'll still offer those services, but when I put the name wellness, I think it will attract more clients because of where my business is located at, the market analysis I recently did, and all those things. But they have no idea of the shift. They just see new services and they're like, oh, what are you offering now? What are you doing now? Yeah. It's almost like an exciting thing for Christmas, right? Like, what are you doing now? So, they have no idea.
I have a question for you. And the show is called The Nurse Boss Shift. And so my question for you is where did the shift happen for you? Was it a certain event that happened at your job? Was it a life event? Like, where did the shift happen where you were like, I'm going to be a nurse entrepreneur? And the moment that you actually did it, because I think some people think they have the shift because they have a thought, but they never act on it. And my definition of a shift, that's not a shift. A shift is when you put your money where your mouth is. Like you say you want to do it and you actually implement or take steps that requires something of you. Either it's your time, either it's your money, or it could be a combination of the two. So you tell me, I would love for, you to tell us, I should say, where did the shift or when did the shift happen for you?
Gotcha. So when I came to Atlanta, I was living in North Carolina and I was like, okay, life happened. And I was like, okay, I'm going to move to Atlanta, be closer to my family. My then fiance, who's now my husband, was just like, oh yeah, we're going to do this thing in Atlanta. So I got here and I transferred. I didn't actually go straight into entrepreneurship. I transferred and I hated it. I was like, you wouldn't think that I worked for the same company, right? The moral aspect of how they treat people. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm further south. Like, I'm not really sure like what this is, but I can't do this, right? This is not me. So while I was at work, the thing that made me shift was I realized the value wasn't on me. It was on the services I provided. So my workload began to increase because they saw, oh, she can do this. Let's add more to her plate. She can do that. Let's add more to her plate. So I was like, okay, hold on, time out. You're adding, but I don't see no numbers changing. I don't see no numbers changing. I work on numbers. I'm a numbers person. I work on pay me as you slay me because you slaving me. You know what I'm saying? Like I work on those. Like if you're gonna give me more work, where is the bonuses? Where's this? Where's that? And for me, I felt like I was talking like a foreign language. And I was like, okay, cool. The final straw for me was when I went to go apply to get my DEA reimbursed. And I was denied my DEA. And I was like, okay, so you're going to deny my DEA renewal, but I have CEUs as a nurse practitioner, so you're denying it. And I was told, well, we're denying it because you don't need it for this job. And I'm like, but this is not the only job I've ever, so there was a lot of back and forth. And I was just like, okay, cool. And I spoke with one of my other nurse friends who's a nurse practitioner as well. And she was just like, why are you putting up with that? Like, leave. And I'm like, you're right. I ain't gonna put up with this. Now, mind you, I don't recommend my transition on anybody because I quit. I literally was just like, I'm over this. I'm out of here. My life got wheels on it. Like, I was like, I don't care no more. Like, I couldn't take it. I literally just got to a breaking point, and I trusted the fact that I have a license. As long as I'm not jeopardizing my license is leaving here. So I quit. Yeah. I literally was like, call HR. I was like, hey, what's the notice I need to give? Because I'm like, I'm a provider now, right? So providers usually got to give like a 4 to 6 week notice. And they were just like, no, 2 weeks. I was like, 2 weeks it is. 2 weeks it is. So I gave my notice and I left. The transition into entrepreneurship happened when I left. And I was like, okay, in order for me to make it, I have to learn more about it. Because nursing teaches us how to be great nurses, but nurses have to teach you business. So I'm not going to get out here and flop. So I joined a coaching program. Fast forward, I'm trying to speed it up so I don't take much time. I literally took a COVID contract. On the COVID contract, made a decision I was never going back to that particular environment where I worked for someone else. Joined a coaching program and invested a couple of G's because I was like, okay, if I'm going to make this money, it needs to be invested the right way. I'm going to invest it in my growth. So I invested in the coaching program, came home and opened up my own practice. And everyone's like, you open up, I'm opening up my own practice. Then either like in the famous words of your mentor, it has to work or it has to work.
Oh,
like, no, like I want to reply. No, it has to work or it has to work. So I got serious about my business, right? I realized that if I was going to make it, I need to get serious about it. I knew I had the potential. I invested in a coaching program. And from then on, I was just like, all right, it's about investing in me wherever I need to go to get what I don't have. I have the nursing knowledge, but I need the business sense. I need to be able to work contracts and get all those resources that I need to survive because that's what it is right now, survival of the fittest. So that's when my transition took place.
How long did it take you, or did you have any time where you didn't feel confident, or was there a time I always relate it to when we started as nurses, we're baby nurses, we're the bedside, we're going to kill everybody. So once you started your business, did it take some time for you to feel confident in yourself again? Like you went back to being a brand new nurse, or did it just kind of take off?
No, I think for me, I was hungry, right? I was hungry. I mean, I'm a northerner. I'll just be honest with you. I'm a northerner. I'm a go-getter. Like we hustle. I got hustle and flow all up in me. So I ain't myself Louis Vuitton. I'm just kidding. But I didn't care. Like I was hungry for it, right? So like I have a hustle and flow mentality. where once I make a decision, that is a decision, right? I'm not backstating. I'm going to figure out a way. If I need to call my family, like, hey, listen, this is an investment I made. I need you to believe in me, and I got you, right? Dr. Kiana, listen, I made this investment. I got this bed coming. It's 2,200. Spot me to Friday. I got you. Like, that's how lucky I was for it, where if I needed to make a phone call to a colleague, it wasn't because I was doubting myself. It's because I just looked for more resources. So there was no go. I had already made a decision on what I'm kind of bullheaded in that sense. Once I make a decision, the only way I'm going to fail is if my knees buckle, and they did. And so I'm just thankful for that.
You know, there is so much I want to unpack in that first that you said. And now, so let me, because you said that you did a travel contract, and then you took that money and then you invested it in yourself. And there's so many things that I know that, especially not those who are a novice or inexperienced entrepreneurs, or even those who are considering it, how they're thinking. One of the things is, when it comes to that money, that COVID money, I want to say 98% of the people were looking into investing in liabilities and not assets. And I consider us an asset, because our investing in ourselves appreciates over time. We know that, right? So where you were when you made that first investment in 2020, 2021 is directly related to where you are now in 2024. And I think the biggest challenge, and I want to know your perspective on this, for nurses, is that mindset of like, I'm not spending that kind of money. I'm not, and it's spend, it's not invest. They look at it as spending. I'm not doing that. Or they're looking at how much money you're getting on it. So like when you invest in a coach, like, I'm not paying you $5,000 or $10,000, like, and then you get 10 people, that's $100,000 or $50,000. We're looking at it from that perspective. What do you think about that? What is your feedback, your thoughts on it?
I think that your mindset has to be there, right? You can't go in just kind of in a tug of war, right? I already did my research. Like, I'm a people watcher, and I'm a people watcher. So I watch people. I watch their behavior. I watch how they carry themselves. I watch how they do their business. Like, I'm not going to just jump out there because it's popular. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a people watcher. I watch how you carry yourself. I watch how you do business with other people. I don't jump on bandwagons. So my particular coach, and I'll mention her because I love her to death, Dr. Jessica Chung is my coach. Dr. Chung already helped other nurse practitioners who were like me to open up their own practice. Dr. Chung is a very, very spiritual person, but she also is a great person, right? So outside of business, I watched her. I attended her free webinars, and I was just like, okay. And then I hopped on a call with her. And after I hopped on the call, I still was just like, I wonder, like, back to you, Crystal, I'm just like, I wonder, should I do this now, right? Or should I stay on this contract? So that was my thing. Like, should I stay on the COVID contract a little longer? Or, so then an opportunity presented itself where my sister, her best friend is a chiropractor. She was just like, hey, I'm not going to mention her name, but she's like, she has a space available in her office where she can give you the other side of the office. And I was just like, word? She was like, yes. I'm like, all right, cool. So then I went back. I was like, all right, let me get in this coaching program. So I'm literally working a COVID contract in Texas, doing a coaching program at the same time. And my thought process was, when I get back to Atlanta, what am I going to do? I'm not going back to work for nobody. Like, that the last straw was the final straw for me. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I promise you I'm not going back. So my mindset had already shifted. My thing was I begin to strategize, right? Am I going to take this money and buy what I don't need, which I didn't need anything, because I don't like debt. I'm actually allergic to debt. So I didn't need anything. I was just like, how am I going to strategize what I do with this money, right? And I felt like the biggest investment I was going to make was in me. So I made the investment, and I grew. And I promise you, my right hand, you can ask her to this day, Dr. Chung, at the end of our 12-week coaching program, she said, I like to highlight one student who never missed a meeting. She was in her meeting. So literally, I'm on our last Zoom driving to the airport, and then my face pops up, and she's just like, Elise was like, she was on it. She was like, she didn't miss that A meeting. She was there. She got her stuff done. I'm telling you, by the time I left Texas, I had my EIN, I had everything. Like, I was doing stuff at the same time. But that's how strategic I was. and what my investment was going to be, which was in me. But it's part of the mindset. A lot of people's mindset is not there. They think it looks good. Yeah, it does look good until you realize how much you got to pay. You got to pay to play. So, yeah.
So moving forward, so that was the question I want to ask you at that first part. But then the next part you mentioned, you was like, you talked about coaching. And I know you talked about Jessica Chung already, but I still feel like when it comes to coaching, there is a strategy on how you find the right coach, and then where you are on the journey too, that's going to determine your success. Now, there are nurses, and this is just funny, this has kind of taken life of its own, but there are I'm just talking to nurses because that's who are on our thing, but can be generalized too, who feel like once you pay, then what else? I paid you, like, make it happen. But there is so much more to that that's going to get you to where you are trying to go. What are your thoughts on that? Or what was your process? I know you said you watched her.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the process. Like, she basically gave me my prereqs.
Yeah.
She gave me prereqs. Because, baby, let me tell you something. Had I known that I didn't have to invest $50,000 of my own money and I can use other people's money, I would have been balling, in a sense. I didn't understand business credit. So like I told her, and I was very honest with her, like, hold on a sec, I'm sorry. I was very honest with her, and just in reflection, because we still kept in touch and still keep in touch, I said, there's a lot that I got the foundation, right? I got the foundation, which was great foundation. She did personalized business plans for us, like very thorough, right? But there was so much more to learn, and you don't learn that until you go into business. And I think people feel like somebody needs to hand you stuff on a platter. Nothing is handed to you on a platter, because we all have our own journeys, right? So there was things like business credit I didn't know about. And I started networking with women who were on the same journey as me and further along as me, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. So what did you do about this? Or where did you get that? Or how did you learn that? I didn't know about a Neo Davis, or I didn't know about a Women CEO project. And I was just like, wait a minute, wait, who does credit? Oh, that person, I need to go to that person. So the journey had just started for me when I finished my coaching program. It wasn't the end. And I feel like people don't feel like they need to continue to build. I'm still building. I'm still learning. I just left a meeting with a realtor. Why? Because by 2024, by the 9th month of this year, my building itself will be open. I will not be renting from anybody. I'm speaking it into fruition. Why? Because I have a real estate background. So my niece, who just graduated as a broker, I'm like, how do I see this? Because Dream Trusters Academy is trademark. I'm a forward thinker. I'm a visionary, right? So in going into business, I think people need to understand that once you start the business, that is the foundation. You have to continue to grow, continue to invest, continue to learn, continue to put yourself in a room where growth takes place. If growth doesn't take place, then listen. And that's one of the reasons why I'm just like, okay, I'm showing up where growth takes place. If there's no growth, then you probably won't see me. So I think as entrepreneurs, especially nurses that transition, you have to maintain a mindset of growth. Growth, that's just every day. I don't care. Affirmations, sticky notes. I'm a sticky note queen. Growth has to take place. You can't get complacent because you feel like you have a skill set, because that's all you have at that point.
Yeah. No, and that is so powerful too. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we don't want to admit it, but we're also afraid of that. Just that we say we want it, but we really are afraid to grow and our life to be different. Because whether we are existing in chaos, it's predictable chaos. It's like, okay, money get low, bam, I go pick up an extra shift, go get a registry, go travel, whatever. That's kind of been normalized. And so to venture into entrepreneurship where you don't know about and you're starting at zero is really scary to a lot of nurses. But what they miss is that journey, that process is going to put you light years ahead of where you could ever be exchanging time for money. And that's just the truth of the matter. But as with anything, if it's worth having, it gotta be worth working for, and it's not gonna come easy.
Exactly.
It's not.
Oh, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that often gets missed because especially with social media, it's like glamorized so much. And it's like, all you have to do is get you an LLC, get you 10 steps to getting $1 million. Like, that's it. That's like, and it's like, boy, nobody want to talk about those sleepless nights. Nobody want to talk
Listen.
about when you don't know what's gonna happen. The next check don't come in, and how you be crying. Nobody want to talk about that.
But you know what? In the middle of your journey, life happens. Life be lifing. And you have to sometimes, just like you did, you gotta pause, babe. Like you literally, like last year for
In a
me,
minute.
you just have to pause and be okay with it. Like I literally will be like, I don't, and it might just be me and my personality. I'm a type A female, so I'm like, it is what it is. You know, this is a journey that I decided to travel. So I never asked for validation. I never asked for permission to do it. I just told you what I was going to do, right? And every day I'm proving to myself that I got what it takes. I just have to be okay to take the bumps and the bruises that come along with it, like everyone else, whether they show them or not. I'm going to show mine because I'm not going to give up a false pretense to anyone to be like, oh, Nurse Haskins, it looks so easy for you, baby. Ain't nothing. Listen, it's not as hard as you may think. Right? It's not as hard as you may think, but it does take determination, resilience, and tenacity to make it. And that's with anything that you do. So the same way I showed you that to resilience, tenacity, and all that, and I'm going to show you on this side of entrepreneurship too. It's the same thing. It's just a mindset shift that I decided to make. I made a decision, right? Does it take away me being a nurse? No, absolutely not. It adds value to who I am because a lot of people don't have what we have. I'm like a threat. I'm a old triple threat in these
Period.
So when you take on that mental, that right there, like when you walk in the room, I'm not questioning my authority. I know who I am. Got like 1,008 issues with some student loans behind me. But I also know I'm an authority and expert in what I speak on. I'm not questioning my authority, right? So you have to take on that as well, because then you'll get got in these social media streets. You get got real quick. Buying into things that look good on social media. I'm fact checking. I don't have time for any of that. Like I'm not afraid to invest, but on the other side of it, I don't have time to play games either. So
that's powerful. That's powerful, and it's so true, and it's so real and raw. And I love that you talked about the fact checking, especially when it comes to these social media streets, because that is definitely not done enough. And I always say about nurses, we're trusting. We are so trusting.
Yeah.
I mean, we expected somebody. I said this on my stories when I was just talking about all the L's I took in 2024 and 2023. And one of the, I was saying that we're so trusting. We expect if you say it, like it's true, right? Like if you're telling me you can build me a whole such and such, I believe you, because why would you lie? Easy money.
And like we're number one prey, PREY. Like people prey on us. We're like, oh,
so true.
Got money. Nurses got money. Nurses got money. I'm like, baby, I wasn't always a nurse. Like I wasn't always a nurse. You know what I'm saying? So game recognizes game. Let's just be honest, right? Game recognizes game. So you just have to, again, as bad as you want the independence of being an entrepreneur, you also have to, like I said, fact check and just be careful where and who you invest in. And I'm very careful with that. I'm not over careful, but I'm also very intentional about connections I make, right? I'm very intentional about it. Like you said, this profession that we're in could be very cliquish. And I know that as well. But then the grown woman inside of me just clicks in like, whatever. Like I'm gonna continue to do what I do. So I don't even know. It's so much to uncover.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so now where you are, you have your wellness clinic, and then you also host your events that you started before COVID. So that I think that should be acknowledged. It wasn't COVID that kicked you into it. So you started it before COVID, where you were showing up and stepping outside of your comfort zone. And so where are you now in 2024? Like what you got going on? What's
wow
and latest?
Listen. I keep telling myself to set out somewhere, but you know what? I haven't done it yet, right? I'm always looking for innovation and just bringing forth innovation in this profession and helping people to gain a different insight on mindset shifting. I have shifted my mindset, and I'm having a little bit of a hard time because when people see you as one way, it's like, oh, Nurse Haskins, she encourages everybody to finish nursing school. I'm like, that was in
Mhm.
2018. Like, and I
Yeah.
still do that. But
Mhm.
I want people to also know that time waits for no man, right?
Yeah.
So because I am someone who has ventured into entrepreneurship and gotten the resources, I then take those resources and share them. So in August 2023, I launched Bedside to Business, where I say that I have been able to show other nurses and nurse practitioners how to go from working at the bedside to launching their own wellness clinics. And my primary source is primary care, but again, the health and wellness space, right? I think that and this is my tagline, like nursing teaches how to be amazing nurses, but nursing doesn't teach us business. And the advantage, the AD advantage I have is that I graduated from business school. So it's like people don't look at, I always say, like, who were you before nursing, right? Who were you before Dr. Kiana Jones? Like, what did you do? Because I want you to take all of that and put it into your pot of entrepreneurship. And people get so focused on, oh, I'm a nurse. Okay, but what else is there to you? Because all of that is
they've
going
wrapped
to
it
be
in your
needed.
identity. Yeah.
Yeah, like all of that is going to be needed in your entrepreneurship journey. So August 2023, I launched my coaching program, Bedside to Business, where I coach and mentor other individuals on how to start their own practice. And then I focus more on the business aspects of it because that's my strength. You may think it's nursing, but no, it's business. It's business.
And and that's so funny that you say that because it's, and I have to realize that I've branded myself a certain way. So when I try to tell them like, but no, but y'all got to understand, I built a whole like online coaching program, like, and this is all business. It doesn't matter. This could be repeatable for for anyone. They don't want to hear it. As soon as I come on, they be like, well, how do you start a med spot? They ask me about, they don't care nothing about what else I'm talking about. I've already branded myself on that. And it is so difficult to get people out of where you were to like, no, but like I'm doing great, like other great things that I can help people with. They're not trying to hear it. So it's gonna take a while. Like I just accepted it, like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep on, because now 5 years in, I'm like, hey, I done got some stuff that I could teach that's not just nurses. Even like one of my VIP clients, he's a physician. And it's like I'm teaching him how to build a whole business. But the nurses, they're like, med spa, med spa, med spa. What you gotta say about med spa? What you gotta say about med spa? It's like I can't even get out of it because that's all they know. So I love that. And I know we talked about your Bedside to business course in Houston, I remember. And then when you came here for the IV hydration event, we talked about it then, and now it's beautiful to see that you launched it. I did see that you launched it, and I think it's amazing that you've been able to do that and launch it. And so you got that, then you got your events. Tell us about that.
So this particular year, 2024, you guys can still hear me. 2024, I wanted, right? This is the thing. And I took a risk, but I'm a risk taker. I took a risk of saying, I want to bring together 100 women in business. I intentionally left the word off nursing. Everyone's just like, oh, it's not for nurses. I said, baby, one of my coaches right now is not a nurse. He's not a nurse. It's a he. He's not a nurse. What we have to do, and what I'm going to teach you about me is I'm a shifter. Have I not shifted from being a CNA to an LPN to an ADN to a BSN to an MP? Do you think my whole life is about shifting, right? So because I am someone who shifts, my career shifted. I started as a nursing assistant. Had I not stayed or been afraid to become an LPN became my social, like my life was about shifting. So now my mindset has shifted. 2024, there's no apologies. I'm not offering, but what I'm trying to get you guys to see is that we are women in business. I can collaborate with you. I can network with you, not feel threatened by you. I can empower you, impact you. I can invite you to the same platform. We can lift each other up, and it is perfectly okay. I'm not trying to dim your light, and I'm not trying to outshine mine, but we can all coexist in the same room. There's an attorney that's going to be there. There's my best friend who owns a 7,000 square foot event center that she built out her on her own. She's not a nurse, right? There's someone else that teaches you how to launch labs, Sheila Michelle. She's not a nurse, right? Then you got nurses that retired, like Nurse Christy at the age of 27, who travels out of the country. who now teaches you about investment properties overseas. The mindset, and this is what I'm trying to get people to say. Listen, the mindset have to shift away with just going to what you're comfortable with. I'm no longer comfortable being complacent. I can go to nurses events. Oh, it's Nurses Week. It sure is. But what do you do outside of Nurses Week? So that's why this event was very intentional. It's during Martin Luther King weekend, because I said when I planned this event, he had a dream, but God gave me a vision. My vision, I'm a visionary, is to create this event where all women of all walks of life can come together and we can grow. It's about growth in 2024. That's who I am. That's what my brand has become. That's where my brand is going. So come on along with me, because you won't catch me backpedaling or back skating or back. It's all, you know what I'm saying? So my rooms that I'm walking in now probably won't be a nursing event, because I've already been there, done that 23 years in.
I've never paid a nurse coach. I never had a nurse who was a coach ever. All my coaches have always been, and I intentionally, very much so like you, I intentionally did it that way because first of all, when I started, there was none to choose from, really. That was like mindset, like business. If you wanted to get a nurse coach, you had to be starting a CNA school or like, you know, something very specific to like what a nurse would do. So I think that piece too, though, Nurse Haskins, is what expands our mind. Like, I think we are so wrapped in that identity, our identity of being a nurse. We can't get out of it. We cannot get out of it. I want to let everyone know how they can find you, though, and like just specifically about the events. Like if they want to come, it's going to be in Atlanta. Like tell us if they want to join your Bedside to Business. Just tell us like where they can get that information from.
Absolutely. So all of the links I am shifting in 2024. Bedside to Business will start back up in February. It's a coaching and mentor program for those of you guys who are stepping into the entrepreneurial playground. You'll hear more about it at the event. To start your own health and wellness clinics. And then you'll continue to see me on social media as Nurse Haskins, but you'll see me show up in other spaces as well. So I'm excited as to where God has shifted me from, where he's taking me from. I look forward to continuing to support you guys and everything that you do. You know, since I met you guys, was like, what's that? So I'm super proud of you guys. But listen, it's a shift in the atmosphere. So the atmosphere has to be in the shift. I said I don't make resolutions, I make promises. So
I love that. Tell us your handles. Like, where are you at on social? Like, how can they follow you?
Gotcha. So my handle is Nurse_Haskins, Haskins. Everybody calls me Hawkins. It's Nurse_Haskins. Guys, on social media, as my name, I got that name many years ago, just kept it. Facebook, same thing, Nurse Haskins. Am I on TikTok? I was. My niece made me do it, but yeah, that's still, no, I think it's Nurse Haskins on TikTok. I'm on Threads. YouTube channel needs to be updated. Don't judge me. But there's a couple of videos on there for some nursing students to look at when it comes to transitioning from one scale of nursing to the next. So I am on social media. You can find me, and my website is meetnursehaskins.com. So guys can find me there as well. Meet Nurse Haskins.
That's MEET nursehaskins.com. And it's
correct.
Haskins, you guys. 2 S's there. .com.
One S. HASKINS. Is it 2 S?
That's 2 in there. I'm like, no, wait a minute.
I'm like, wait. I had this name for a long time.
I love it. Chris, do you have anything? Oh, before we let you go, just really quick, what's some homework you have for our listeners? You can give them 3 things that they can do right now that can transform their trajectory as far as nurse entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. You know, stay ready. The first thing, guys, it is faith over fear. In order to take this leap, you have to let go of fear. Fear will keep you paralyzed. It will keep you stuck. It will keep you looking at this podcast next year, wishing that you have taken a leap. That's the first thing. So it's faith over fear. The next thing is trust the process. as easy as it looks for a lot of us, it's not easy, right? But it is worth it. And I say that about my journey in every aspect. You're going to bring you through it. That's the second thing. The last thing is be very intentional. Be very intentional about where you spend your time. That is the greatest asset that you have, because time waits for no man. So the time that you are getting up here on this earth, be very intentional about where you spend it and who you spend it with.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
I love y'all.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Those were 3 powerful, and I feel like they were all grouped in mindset, which honestly, nothing else matters. I don't care how much you pay a I don't care how many books you read. I don't care. Nothing else matters if it's not right in your mind. And that is so powerful. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
I love it.
I can't wait. Thank you so much. Whatever you guys have going on. I'm sorry, Crystal. Go ahead. You know I'm a talker. Go ahead.
Keep it coming on. I loved hearing about your tenacity and reminding our listeners, and also me as a coach, coaching nursing students. And it's about that tenacity. Either they're going to do it, you're going to do it, or you're not going to do it. You know, you get these coaches and you pay them to get the foundation, but everything else is left up to the person. How hungry they are, like you said, how much they're going to go get it, and how much they're not going to fight for their limitations or their excuses. So thank you so much for reminding our listeners of that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. I love it. We need to connect more too. Like I really do enjoy our conversations as well. I know we be, sending each other messages on social, but like we need to definitely connect. We'll be in Atlanta. Crystal and I will be. Crystal and I will be in Atlanta. I don't know when, but is it May, Crystal, or something like that? We're coming for an event in May. Yeah, we'll be hosting an event, so we'll definitely reach out to you and try to connect.
Okay, let me know. Yes, I'll be here, but I do believe I can fly, so I don't mind traveling.
Okay, love it. Yeah.
I believe I can fly. Yeah. I don't mind traveling, and I love supporting you guys. So if there's anything that you're having, I know I've seen a couple of things. I was like, oh, that's for the tribe. But I'm always going to be there to support. And I thank you guys for having me. Thank you for inviting me into your space. Absolutely. And I would love to continue to network and grow and collaborate with you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for spending the day with us. We're spending this 45 minutes. We went a little bit over, so thank you so much for just going with the punches with us. We appreciate you, and I cannot wait to see all the things that you're going to do in 2024, because I know it's going to be amazing.
Yes. Likewise here, folks. Likewise. Y'all take care. Bye.
Bye.